Hello everyone! Welcome back to another modelled writing video. So in today's video we're going to look at two task 1 questions. Now task 1 is when you'll be presented with a piece of data. For example, it could be a bar chart or a line graph, and it's your job to report back on that data. Now the task is the same every time, in terms of you'll always be expected to report back, select the main features, make comparisons. But it's the data that changes, and sometimes there's different vocabulary that we need to include as well, depending on the data. So today we'll see two different types, and as always, we'll go through the structure, how we would approach a question like this, and then we'll do the write-up so you can see how I'll approach this type of question. This is really useful if you've, say, booked your IELTS exam, or you have it coming up, or you just want a bit more information on task 1. This is a place for you. Okay, well, let's get started then with the first task of the day, and that's going to look at a process. Now, processes are can be a little bit intimidating, I would say, for some students. They are a little bit different, and they do require a slightly different approach. So we'll talk about that today. Okay, the question. The diagram below gives information about the recycling of glass and plastic containers. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. So you'll see the question is the same. We need to select and report the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Right, well, let's see this process then, and it's the process of recycling glass and plastic. Let's have a look. Right, here we go. So this is the life cycle of glass and plastic with recycling. Interesting. So it starts here with the collection. Then 5 to 10 days go by. Then we're transporting to the recycling centre. They're sorted. The glass gets, so we have two different cycles actually, the glass cycle and the plastic cycle. So the glass goes through these steps with different machines, and then the plastics, sorted by thickness and quality, goes through these different steps, and then they reach a new product. So questions to ask yourself to help with processes: is this a natural process or is this man-made? Well, this one here today, man-made. How many steps are there? Well, there's two different processes here, so they have different steps, different amount of steps, but they both start with collection. Is this linear or is this cyclical? And this one is cyclical. It goes round and round, so the new products are being made, and then they are collected, they're thrown away and collected again, and then the whole cycle starts again. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Well, it begins with collection and it ends with a new product. And are any materials added? I can't see any materials being added, but there are definitely machines that are used. So okay, so those questions will help you think about the overview in particular. But let's now think about our two groups. Now, for one process, I would split it up into where there's a logical halfway point. So maybe I'll split it into where something goes to a factory, or where a slight change happens. For this one, however, we've got two separate products, so I think I'm just going to split it up into glass and plastic. And the overview, then we're going to put together our questions that we've just been thinking about. So this cyclical, dual process, that means two, or maybe the cyclical process for maybe is different for glass and plastic. Both starting with collection and ending with a new product. Or this man-made, we should say. Yes, man-made cyclical process. Okay. Right, so you can see that the task is the same, but we do have to think about it slightly differently. There are various different questions that we can ask ourselves for a process. Okay then, I think that's good. Let's now go to the write-up and we'll put this all together. I'll show you how you can create your answer now. And of course, you'll have your notes with you to help you. And the notes will help keep you focused, stay on track, not sway from what we're talking about. So that will really help us in the task one. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, like with any task one and task two for that matter, is to paraphrase this statement here. The diagram below gives information about the recycling of glass and plastic containers. So we could say maybe the pictorial displays the process of, now it's difficult to paraphrase every single word, we're not expected to. Maybe we could say the recycling process of glass and plastic, or maybe we could say of manufactured bottles. The pictorial displays the recycling process of manufactured bottles. Okay, quite short, but that's all right. Let's now go into our overview. So this man-made cyclical cycle, oh, that's a bit similar. Cyclical journey, multi-step cycle, maybe. Multi-step cycle. Maybe we'll do another hyphen there. This man-made cyclical, I want to use process. Let's change this here. The pictorial displays the recycling journey of manufactured bottles. Okay. This man-made cyclical process consists, and we're using present tense, consists of glass and plastic having separate routes. However, they both start with collection and end with a new product being produced. This man-made cyclical process consists of glass and plastic having separate routes. However, they both start with collection and end with a new product being produced. Okay, I think that's good. We've thought about those questions to help us. So let's start with glass now. glass, as mentioned, begins, or should we say a glass bottle, maybe a used glass bottle in the recycling bin. So we're not given all the information, we can see the sign here. On the bin, that means recycling. Okay, so a used glass bottle in the bin starts by being collected. Okay. It takes 5 to 10 days to reach the recycling centre. Oh, it takes 5 to 10 days to reach the recycling centre by lorry. And we want to use our nice timestamps here. So then next after that to show the sequencing. It takes 5 to 10 days to reach the recycling centre by lorry. Then it is organised by colour. Okay, so then we have some interesting machines that do some crushing, some washing, some melting, reshaping. Okay, the next 4 steps require specialist equipment. Firstly, the glass is crushed. Next, it is washed. We can say, and next it is washed. The following 4 steps. After that, it is added to a heated container in which the glass is melted. Then in a different machine, it is reshaped. Then in a different machine, it is reshaped. Once this has been completed, the glass resembles a bottle again and is able to be used, utilized as a new product. After 3 to 8 weeks, we can talk about this point here. It will most likely end up in the bin and be collected again. It will most likely be thrown away, and the process starts again. Okay, let's read this back. A used glass bottle in the recycling bin starts by being collected. It takes 5 to 10 days to reach the recycling centre by lorry. Then it is organised by colour. The following 4 steps require specialist equipment. Firstly, the glass is crushed and next it is washed. After then, in a different machine, After that, it is added to a heated container in which the glass is melted. Then, in a different machine, it is reshaped. Once this has been completed, the glass resembles a bottle again and is able to be utilized as a new product. Maybe for new products. After 3 to 8 weeks, it will most likely be thrown away and the process starts again. Okay, I think that's good. So that's our glass process. Now we can look at the plastic process. So a discarded plastic bottle starts its life the same way as glass. Starts not its life. This journey, we've used that before, starts this process starts the same way as glass by being collected and taken to the recycling centre. Okay, instead of by colour, it's sorted by thickness and quality. However, instead of colour, it's actually, we'll write colour the British way here. Instead of colour, it is sorted by thickness and quality. Okay, then it's bundled together. It is then bundled together, and then it looks like two almost rollers shred. Following this, two sharp rollers shred the material. Then it goes through washing. So like glass, it is washed. And also it is, but unlike glass, it's melted and reshaped by the same machine. Nevertheless, unlike glass, it is melted and reshaped by the same equipment. And then one is left with a new plastic bottle ready to repeat the process countless times. Let's read this paragraph back. A discarded plastic bottle starts the same way as glass, by being collected and taken to the recycling centre. However, instead of colour, it is sorted by thickness and quality. It is then bundled together. Following this, two sharp rollers shred the material. Like glass, it is washed. Nevertheless, unlike glass, it is, I'm not sure about nevertheless. However, let's use although, unlike glass, it is melted and reshaped by the same equipment. Then one is left with a new bottle. Then we could say then a new plastic bottle is on the market, ready to repeat the process countless times. Okay, I think that's good. Let's count the words for this one. Okay, so this answer has taken us to a total of 215 words. So it's above the minimum of 150, which is what we're aiming for. And hopefully that's been helpful today if you've been struggling with processes. I know this causes some issues for students, so really good to go through one today. You can see how we're still pulling data from the picture here. It's just in a slightly different way with slightly different types of vocabulary, but the structure is the same. We still paraphrase, we still do our overview, and we do our two groups there. So hopefully that's been useful. All right, well, let's get into the second task of the day, which is going to be a line graph. The line chart below shows the average monthly rainfalls for 3 towns in the district of Kona in Hawaii for a yearly period. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So you can see the question is the same. We're still selecting and reporting the main features, but this time we've got a line chart about the average monthly rainfalls for 3 towns in a district of Kona in Hawaii. Okay, so let's bring in the line graph and see what we're working with. Right, so the centimetres are on the y-axis. We've got 0 to 18 there. Then on the x-axis, we've got the months. So we've got January through to December. And then we've got the 3 districts here. The pronunciation's a little bit hard, so forgive me if I'm not saying these completely correctly. But the darkest shade is kind of liu. Then there's a lighter shade here, opahiheo. And then there's middle shade represents Holualoa. Holualoa. Okay, so yes, we've got our line charts here, and this is showing our average monthly rainfalls. Okay, so when we're thinking about groupings, we can there's a few ways that you can do this. You can maybe group 2 of the towns and the district together and talk about them in the first group, and then the other one in the other group. For me, I think it's quite nice to maybe split the year in half. That's what I might do. So I might go from January through to June, and then maybe July through to December, something like this. And then talk about all the towns throughout the first half and the second half. So, like I said, a few ways that you can do this, but that's what I'm going to do today, and I'll show you how we can put this all together. So for our overview then, our sweeping statement, we want to make, as always, a general observation. So what do we have here? Kind of liu. Oh, that has the highest, for most of the year, it has the highest average monthly rainfalls. Okay. For the majority of the months, kind of has the highest average monthly rainfall. Whereas I would say Opihahale has the lowest. Whereas Opihahale has the lowest overall. So, of course, not for every month, but in general, that's what I would say for that one. Okay, so we've got our groupings, we've got our overview. So let's now put this all together in the write-up. And we've got our question here, and we've got our words, our helpful synonyms for words like decrease, stay the same, increase, and our adverbs, which are very useful here. And of course, we've got our data, which will be drawing from, in particular for the groups, for the two main bodies. Okay, then, so we need to start, as always, by having a think about this paraphrasing paragraph. So, the statement, the line chart below shows the average monthly rainfalls for 3 towns in the district of Kona in Hawaii for a yearly period. Okay. Let's have a think about this one. So we could say the line graph, just change it a little bit. Ooh, we're checking our spelling as we go along. The line graph displays the medium rainfall per month. So a nice way to paraphrase, if you can't, for something like month, which is difficult to paraphrase because you don't want to lose the meaning of the word. A nice way is just to change the word format a little bit, or the structure, or the ordering. So the medium rainfall per month for 3 areas in the Kona district. We could use suburb, maybe of the 3 smaller, maybe smaller villages, towns, 3 suburban areas in the Kona section in Hawaii over the course of a year. Let's read this back and see how it's sounding. The line graph displays the median rainfall per month for 3 suburban areas in the Kona section. I'm not sure about this word section. The Kona district. In the overall Kona region, maybe Kona region, or in the Kona region. Yes, I think that's good. In Hawaii, over the course of a year. Okay, I think that's good. So now we can go into our overview. We can start by saying something like, on the whole, Kina Liu, for the majority of months out of the year, has the highest volume of rain, whereas, and we're using capitals for the proper nouns, where opihi, hail, hale, puhi hail, had the least. Okay, on the whole, kind of Liu, for the majority of months of the year had the highest volume of rain, whereas Opihihale had the least. Okay, so I think that's good. We've got our paraphrasing and we've got our overview there. Okay, let's now go into our first group, and that's going to look at January through to June here in the middle. Okay, so they were all under, we have increments of 2 here. So all towns started in January with under, well, 11, closer to 10 and 8. So let's start with that. In January, all 3 towns, and this is where we want to draw the data so we can use as much of it as we can. All 3 towns had below 11 centimeters, we can use cm, of rain. And Kainaliu had the highest. Oh, doesn't like this one. Oh, a space there. Okay. Kainaliu had the most with just over 10 centimeters. Lovely. Okay. We don't, again, like we've been doing in the past, we don't need to draw upon everything. We just need to pick the main features. So maybe we can talk about most of the months, anything dramatic. So then it takes we can use our adverbs, maybe a sharp drop. This specific town took a sharp drop. We're using past tense just because this is all recorded over the year, so presumably it's in the past. She took a sharp drop in February to 7 centimeters. Very close to Holualoa, actually. Very similar to Holualoa. Maybe had 6 point. Ooh, if that's 7, that's 6, maybe 6.8, which had roughly 6.8 centimeters. Okay, then we go into March, and both of these towns take quite a sharp rise, actually. So notably, both of these areas took or sharply rose in March. And maybe we could talk about Holualoa rising until April to reach the top there. So Holualoa continued this trend, this pattern, or this surge until April. April to hit 10, 11. Okay, we talked about Kainaloo, we've talked about, what about Opihihale? So on the other hand, had Oppie he hail had decreased this month, that month, to 6, 7, just over 7 centimeters. Okay. Right, let's just tie this up. We've got 2 more months in this grouping. So we could talk about Holualoa, then maybe decreasing and then increasing again. That's quite dramatic. So strikingly, Holualoa fluctuated until the halfway point in the year. Halfway point in the year. One word. Dropping to maybe dropping to 8.5 in 8.5 centimeters in May, and then growing to 11 centimeters in June. Okay, let's read this back and see how this is sounding. In January, all 3 towns had below 11 centimeters of rain. Kainaliu had the most with just over 10 centimeters. This specific town took a sharp drop in February to 7 centimeters. Maybe town's rain. Town's rainfall took a sharp drop in February to 7 centimeters. Very similar to Holualoa, which had roughly 6.8 centimeters. Notably, both of these areas sharply rose in March. Holualoa continued this surge until April to hit 11 centimeters. On the other hand, Opihihale had decreased that month to just over 7 centimeters. Strikingly, Holualoa fluctuated until the halfway point in the year, dropping to 8.5 centimeters in May and then growing to 11 centimeters in June. Okay, I think that's good. We can we've sort of picked the main points up until June, and now we can maybe begin the second paragraph with this interesting rise from Kanaliu. So the second half of the year started with the rapid climb in rain in Kanaliu. 16 centimeters in June and 17 meters in July. Holualoa reached 12 in July. Holualoa reached 12 centimeters. In July. And then actually had a drop off in August. A fall followed this in August. And this reached 9, maybe 8, nearly 9 centimeters, or approximately is a bit better, approximately 9 centimeters. Okay, let's talk about Opihi Hail steadily climbing until September. From June to September, Opihi Hail had a steady increase to peak at, say, 10.5 centimeters, and then actually all groups, so from September and October there was a decline in all towns. So from September and October to the end of the year, all towns witnessed a drop in rainfall. Significantly, let's talk about Kainaliu. Ooh, going from 17 in September. You peaking at just over 17. September to drop by 10 to 4 and fell by 10 centimeters in November. And Holualoa also dropped in November, so it went from maybe 11.5. Let's just mention that. Holualoa. Holualoa also had a quick decline. October stood at 11.5 centimeters, and then it fell to this colour here, maybe 6.5. So we could say this plunged by 5 centimeters in the following month, maybe. Okay, let's read this one back. The second half of the year started with the rapid climb in rain in Kainaliu, 16 centimeters in June and 17 centimeters in July. Holualoa reached 12 centimeters in July. A fall followed this in August, approximately 9 centimeters. Hitting. From June to September, Opihi Hail had a steady increase to peak at 10.5 centimeters. From September and October to the end of the year, all towns witnessed a drop in rainfall. Significantly, Kainaliu peaking at just over 17 centimeters in September and fell by to drop by 10 centimeters in November. Holualoa also had a quick decline. October stood at 11.5 centimetres, and this plunged by 5 centimetres the following month. Okay, so we just read that back, made sure everything sounds okay. Let's have a count of the words now. Okay, so this was a longer answer. That came to 258 words there today, but as long as you're reaching the minimum of the 150, then that's okay. You can write a bit more if you can. So yes, you can see how we've grouped them together, drawn from the data, and of course we've started by paraphrasing and doing our overview. So there we go. That brings us to the end of today's video, and I hope that you found that helpful. We love to hear from you, so let us know if you've got any comments or questions, and we'll see you in the next video.